So I'm Diego Lopez, architect at the Norman Foster Foundation, and today I have the opportunity to bring you one of the projects we are working at, the Kharkiv master plan, and specifically the pilot project of the science neighborhood. It all started with this request from the Mayor of Kharkiv when he asked for, within the master plan, create a new and modern space for business and science center for a forward-looking city. When we think of a science park, we think of a space in which we generate innovation, but that's not always the truth. Sometimes it doesn't happen, and that's due to a number of reasons. For example, being isolated from urban centers, being scattered buildings around so that they reduce the interactions and synergies between them. But also, if we think, on the other hand, about neighborhoods, we think about spaces in which we foster social interaction, we get mixed uses, we also get access to public transportation, and we provide urban synergies between them. So this concept of having a science neighborhood for the city of Kharkiv aims to combine benefits of both dense neighborhoods and science parks. As we think this neighborhood will become then the innovation engine for the city of Kharkiv. As very well Manuel pointed out, we need to provide both hardware and software for it. The hardware will be everything that we're building, everything that is being physical, and we mean by that plots of land that are going to be used for the construction of the buildings, but also for its expansion in the future, central buildings, multi-tenant buildings, and all the other infrastructures needed for making this possible. But also we need to look carefully at the software in order to be a functioning innovation engine. So this software is everything that is not tangible but needs to be there. Everything like related to innovation mechanisms, local policies, management teams, and financial and business analysis and plans. Now that we are clear that we want to have a science neighborhood, we need to know where are we locating it. And for this challenge, and for many other questions that we are facing while we are developing this master plan, we do it with locals. As very well Olga pointed out, we are becoming a family with regular meetings. And in this specific challenge that we are facing, we ask them to collate a number of potential sites for us to introduce the science neighborhood. They did it, and after a thorough analysis of all these sites, we concluded that these three ones that you see on the screen were the optimal ones. An aircraft factory north of the city, but very close to the city center. The Varavasova market, or the industrial greenfield that you see on the screen. We zoom in and start looking closely to these sites, analyzing pros and cons, and we all concluded that the site number 3, Varavasova market, was providing a number of benefits that were making it the most adequate one for this science neighborhood we are proposing today. It has available land, not only for the construction, but also for the expansion of this neighborhood that we are presenting today. And it also is very close to public transportation as well. So it combines a lot of bonuses that make it ideal. If we have a closer look at the Varavasova market, we see there is a huge footprint of 75 hectares. It's the biggest market in Europe and is the 15th biggest one in the world. It provides jobs to more than 90,000 people in its more than 50,000 trading spots. But the truth is that the reality of the Varavasova market now is like this. It's been destroyed due to war, bombarding, and shelling. It is true that it is tragic and a terrible problem that they're facing now, but this is becoming also an opportunity for us to start implementing the hardware that we were discussing before. We can create a smaller market, housing spaces, science labs, shops, leisure facilities, university buildings, TODs, and even green and public spaces on it. If we have a closer look to the area hatched in orange, we can identify this market. But if we have a view of the wider context hatched in green, we can understand that there is at north of this site a natural reserve land that we plan then to extend throughout the riverbanks so that they can become true green corridors and blue corridors for the city of Kharkiv. In blue, you can find hatched the metro depot, one of the key infrastructures in terms of transportation for the city of Kharkiv, and it's there to stay. We're going to keep it in the science neighborhood we are proposing. Hatched in red, smaller buildings that were providing services to the bigger market that they are not needed anymore. The DAS red line is a metro line of the city of Kharkiv, connecting the city center with the neighborhood of Saltivka, one of the densest, not only in Kharkiv, but also in Europe, with more than 400,000 people living in it. We also even have one of the metro stations in the Varavasova market area. And also dashed in blue, you can find one of the communications arteries, the main arteries of the city of Kharkiv. all in all, we are accounting for around 140 hectares for the construction of this science neighborhood. We also need to look at the topology of the site, so we need to understand what are the lines that can define then the urban grid that we are going to be laying out and setting out on top of this site. So we can find some of them coming north to south and some of them coming west to east, like the riverbanks, the geometry of the metro depot that we referred to before, the communication artery, or even the metro line that we referred to in the beginning of this presentation as well. So all these can support then an urban grid that we can implement and also inform the sizes of the blocks. That can come also from research that we've done and then on other main capitals in Europe that you can see for these blocks, the numbers range between 70 and 120 meters. But it's not just about learning from the past. We also need to implement new ideas and look into the future, because in here we're going to be having businesses that are using the most advanced technologies, and we will be designing them also with the most advanced urban digital tools as we are seeing today. Everything is going to be designed as well with the highest standards in terms of sustainability and green energy production. So again, we need to start thinking of how are we going to be designing and constructing these buildings. And again, from the local architects, we got this statement when they said this is a unique opportunity for creating new exemplary areas of modern, low-rise neighborhood development. So we started looking at how this can be started to be laid out. We have a diagrammatic cross-section of the different functions divided in these multi-tenant buildings, so we can combine housing with shopping and leisure facilities, offices and science labs all together in order to create thriving streets that foster social interaction, but not only at the ground floor level, in all the entirety of the heights and different floors that we are providing here. And it will also integrate vegetation on top of these buildings as another request that came from the local architects, and that's naturally sustainable due to the weather conditions in Kharkiv. So all these ideas were condensed in this sketch that you see on the screen that was produced by Norman Foster and Ken Larson together in a workshop held last summer. So you see that they start laying out with colors and labeling the different functions of the hardware that we were referring to before, like market, housing, offices, shops and leisure facilities, the parks in green, the U-shape for the university, and the metro and TOD where the orange dot is. The idea is then to create a thriving community in a very strategic location next to the city center, but also connected to the other neighborhoods in the peripheral areas of Kharkiv. And it's about creating innovation, as we discussed before with Manuel, but it's not just innovation that is going to stay there, it's going to project to the other neighborhoods that are around it, and even beyond the city, so that it can become then a true blueprint for all the cities in Kharkiv. And the idea is to create a local and international talent magnet that will position again the city of Kharkiv in the front line of urbanism, technology, and innovation. We are designing a neighborhood that is around 40,000 people living in it, with around 36,000 people per square kilometer. If we put it in context with the local Beacon Hill here in Boston, it almost doubled the density of this neighborhood. But it's very similar to other successful examples in other major capitals in Europe, like the district in Chambéry in Madrid or the 11th district in Paris, or to put it in context with Saltivka, which we referred to before in other presentations as well. It is roughly the same number, but the truth is Saltivka is one major sleeping district. There's no other uses different than residences, but what we are proposing here is something very different. It's mixing all these different uses together in this new science neighborhood. And in order to do this, we have the help and support from the MIT team that they are building this interactive tool that will give us data, and we'll be able to create data-driven solutions, so we will have scientifically informed decisions in order to optimize the design process and come back to the city of Kharkiv and saying this is the best science neighborhood that we can provide. Thank you very much.